What is going on, everybody? Been a diehard Pistons fan since 2003 and starting to get very optimistic about this Pistons team. The Detroit Pistons just fell to the Oklahoma City Thunder by a score of 113 to 107. This was an insane game. Cade got ejected. JB Bickerstaff went off on the officials in the post-game press conference. In this video, we're going to go through and talk about all of that. But first, what we need to do is highlight three key performances tonight. Some kind of silver linings in this game. Of course, we all wish we would have won, but a few performances that did stand out. And the first one is Dennis Schröder. He finishes the night with 17 points to go along with 3 boards and 11 assists. I'm not 100% certain, but I would say that it's safe to say that probably was his best game as a Piston. 6 of 12 from the floor to go along with 4 of 8 from the three-point line. As I mentioned, Cade Cunningham did get ejected in the third quarter, so Dennis had an opportunity to step up big time, and he did exactly that. Dennis was a plus 21 on the box plus minus, which could be a little bit misleading because a lot of those minutes in the first half that Dennis played were minutes where SGA for the Thunder was off the floor. But overall, Dennis played a great game, and I'm just starting to be more and more thankful that Trajan went after and got him at the trade deadline because he has been a huge addition to this team. I had pretty high expectations when we brought him in, but he's already exceeding expectations that I had for him with games like this, especially when Cade got tossed. It was really important that Dennis played well to keep us in this game and kind of fight back into this game. And despite the loss, he played well enough that we had a chance, which is something that I was not sure was going to happen when Cade got ejected. So, moving on, the next player that we do need to highlight is going to be Isaiah Beef Stew Stewart. He finishes the night with 9 points, 7 boards, 2 steals, and 3 blocks. Perfect from the floor, 4 of 4, also hit a three-pointer. And I just thought that Stu brought really good energy tonight. The Pistons got off to a little bit of a slower start in the first quarter. They were down, I think, 12 to 6, 15 to 8, something along those lines when Beef Stew checked into the game. And he pretty much completely turned the game around right once he checked in with a huge block that led to a transition bucket and then a strip steal that led to another transition fast break bucket. So I just thought that Stu was, as Stu normally is, incredibly impactful, bringing positive energy off the bench. And I thought that he had a great game tonight. Just like our talking about Dennis, he also had a pretty good plus minus, and that's also partly due to the fact that he was on the floor a lot when SGA wasn't. But overall, I thought tonight was a really good game for Isaiah Stewart, and I think that he's just opening a lot of eyes to how good he is defensively with another performance tonight with 3 blocks and 2 steals. That also doesn't account for all the other shots that he altered at the rim and just the general physical play that helped set the tone, especially in a few of those moments where we were chipping back into this game and trying to get back into striking distance within the Thunder. So, moving on, the next player that we do need to highlight is going to be Malik Beasley. Malik Beasley finishes the night with 15 points, 2 assists, 1 steal, 6 of 11 from the floor, 3 of 7 from downtown. And you guys can probably notice a trend. The 3 players that we highlighted were all bench players because our bench played very, very well tonight. And that probably was partly due to the fact that they started off their first run in the game where they got back into the game when SGA was not on the floor. But they also were out there for a good portion of the end of the game where the Pistons also were trying to fight back into the game after Cade got ejected. So shout out to the entire bench unit tonight. Beasley also played pretty well. He got dang near his averages, 3 of 7 from the three-point line. Always very useful when Beasley is hitting shots. So overall, shout out to the bench. But that's not to really take away from the starters because despite the score, despite all of the circumstances, I thought that they did a very good job of fighting back in this game. There was a lot of times where I felt like the Pistons definitely could have rolled over, especially with the way this game was getting officiated, but they didn't do it. So losing by 6 points to the best team in the league record-wise is not really the end of the world or a big deal in my opinion. I know it can be tough, especially coming off a loss to the Wizards, but it is important to zoom out and kind of look at the overall picture. I know that's 2 losses in a row. This one I can definitely excuse in a bigger way than I can against the Wizards, but I think that it's important to zoom out and see where we're at on the year compared to where we were expected to be at this point in time. But the Thunder are a great team, and just as importantly, the officials were absolutely awful tonight. If you guys have watched my channel for a long time, you know that I'm not the guy who gets up here and tries to hound on officials. I've officiated a lot of basketball in my lifetime. There's a lot of people in my life that are close to me that have officiated really high levels of basketball. So I'm generally pro officials, but there was a lot of BS going on tonight, and JB Bickerstaff made sure that was known in the post-game press conference. When he went to the press conference, I stuck around and watched it, which I typically don't do. Normally I record my video and then watch the press conference, but I had a gut feeling that JB was going to let them have it in the press conference, and he did exactly that. He was pounding the table. Go watch it if you haven't already, because probably going to get fined for that one, but I think that he hit the nail on the head. It's just tough sometimes, especially when you're playing against a guy like Shea, who is not only so good at drawing contact, he's also very good at kind of selling the contact that he does draw. And the refs really kind of played into that tonight. And on the other end of the floor, it felt like when we were getting those same type of contacts, we were not getting the calls. I'm not even sure at all what happened when Cade got ejected. I know that on that play, Dort got hurt, and then I think a shot went up, and somehow the Thunder got free throws out of it, and they went and reviewed that play for a hostile act, for a flagrant foul. They came away with nothing. Went to the other end to start shooting free throws. I was confused. Apparently Cade was too, because he let the refs know, and not in a very nice way, got himself tossed. Is that his first career ejection? I think it might be. If it's not, it's his second. It must be his second. So remember, he did get tossed his rookie year for pointing at someone after he dunked. Must be his second ejection. So not at all worried about that. I think that it was justified. I was feeling a similar way that Cade was on the couch myself, because just wasn't sure what was going on with the officiating there tonight. So playing against one of the best teams in the league, if not the best team in the league, going against an officiating crew that was less than great, not mad with a 6-point loss. It does sting a little bit extra because we're coming off of that loss to the Wizards, but even for myself, it's important to zoom out, look at the fact that we're still, 6 games over 500, still 5 games up on the 6th seed, so can't be too worried about it. We'll be talking more about games going forward soon, but definitely not going to sweat this one. Let me know what you guys think, and we'll catch up soon.